Mademoiselle and ça c'est deuxième Chanel mwen. And jodi a nou wal pale de Bakoulou or Baka. Now I'm very sure I said Bakoulou a little bit wrong, but I apologize. Baka pa please. Alright. Now this is gonna be a little bit different than a lot of the other spirits or loi that I talk about on this channel, because Baka is not necessarily part of any of the pantheons that we talk about on this channel, but he is, but he isn't, but he is, but he isn't, and we're gonna explain that. Okay, so everyone watching this video, if you're familiar with any type of voodoo or folk religion, please feel free to add down below, because there's a lot that goes into this, but I'm not gonna get too much information because you know certain things, you know, we gotta keep for ourselves. Okay, now when it comes to Baka, honestly, this has to be one of the first lois, but not loi, that I ever heard of. Okay, non tout esprit moi toujours tendé Baka, c'est la première m'te toujours tendé, you know, because if you're Haitian, you know, people always throw out that insult ou semble a Baka ou pi led passe Baka, and I'm like, what is a Baka, you know? Or you would always hear people who do voodoo like, oh, ma fel tourner on Baka, and I'm like, what is a Baka? Like, I never understood like what a Baka was. It wasn't until I got older and people started explaining to me what a Baka was, who's Baka, that I started really understanding like that is literally probably one of the most disrespectful things anyone could say to anyone. Okay, like, oh my lord, Baka, please, please. I'm gonna put some respect on your name. Wait for me, all right? So if you guys don't know about Baka, I got you, okay? So again, Baka's not necessarily a loi, but kinda is, but kinda isn't. So Baka is actually one of the most terrifying spirits that you will ever hear about. This is because he technically was a loi, but was kind of kicked out of the lois, but would kind of be considered one of the petrol lois. And what have I always said about the petrol loi on this channel? You don't fuck with the petrol loi. And why don't you fuck with the petrol loi? Because they hot. Okay, they're hot, they're very, very short-tempered, they're a little bit off their rocker. Okay, they're not the loi to be messed with, they're not loi to be called on. But then again, if you ever listen to anything I say in these videos, none of the loi are loi to be called on. Okay, when we're talking about loi or rishas or any of the folk religions, well, the black ones anyway, you don't call on any of the loi choose you. But when we're talking about Baka, no one invokes him. Okay, no one is allowed to invoke him because he's that scary. Okay, and he is so full of hatred, so full of negativity, that people who have tried to invoke him have literally died. Okay, remember when I talked about Marinette Boissesh and I said people who that invoke her have burnt down their houses? This is not the same thing. People that invoke Baka literally lose their lives. The only people that successfully and can invoke Baka are literally Ogons or Mumbos, and that's about it. Now you guys are probably wondering, okay, why is Baka so full of negativity? What is going on with this law? Like, what's going on? So from what I understand, Baka is actually synchronized with demons or the devil himself. That's right. Yeah, that is his synchronization. So if that is not enough to deter you, even the lois don't mess with Baka. And you guys are probably starting to get the connection here. Baka went and took it upon his silly self to go and lead a revolution, rebellion, revolt, or whatever against the loi, and clearly he wasn't successful. So if you are ever unfortunate enough to meet with Baka in a dream or in some sort of vision, you will see him literally in dirty white clothes with chains dragging next to him, walking through the woods most likely, because that is his domain. He's usually in the woods. You'll probably never ever see him anywhere else, and that is where he was banished to. Okay, all the loi came together. They said, listen, we not fucking with this man no more. He done tried this shit. He's gonna be stuck in the woods. We not because he done tried it, and he put up a hell of a fight. Puki sali algume avec loyon bakone. Okay, mi feti si mi feti tazini bakone. All right, I don't know. I never got that part of the story. Help me out down below if you understand that part of the story, because that part of the story they never told me. But he did lead some sort of revolt or rebellion against all the other loi, and as his punishment, he was banished to the woods, and now he's stuck with a whole bunch of chains, dragging next to him with a bunch of dirty white clothes, and now he's in the woods. Okay, so that's for the most part why the loi don't mess with him. And you guys are probably thinking, okay, why why don't all the Loa take him out? Now, Baka may be banished, all the Loa may not fuck with him, but what did I say? He got a whole bunch of negativity, okay? He's one badass motherfucker. You don't fuck with Baka, okay? Baka is powerful as shit. What did I say? Don't nobody invoke Baka. Nobody. Even the Loa don't mess with him. What you think the Loa about to go sit there and try to banish him for? Okay? It's to the point where anyone tries to invoke him, they really think it might be the end of the universe. And the Loa feel like if they try to like literally attack him, like it might be the end of the world. So they're just like, you know what? We're just gonna let him do his thing. And honestly, it's one of those things where it's like a balance of good and evil. You kind of need some of the bad to balance out some of the good, you know? And I've talked about some of the Loa that do the bad, and I've always talked about how sometimes you need some people to do some bad things in order to kind of do some rough justice in the streets when, you know, the laws and all the other things don't necessarily do their job. But in this case, Baka, he kind of does a little more than rough justice, okay? So let's get into that. So Baka is known for giving people money. Now you guys are probably like, shit, Yvana, what is bad with that? Well, first of all, of course, you're gonna have to do a lot for that money. I'm talking about sacrificing your lineage, sacrificing your child, sacrificing your loved ones for that money. Now you guys have heard me talk about this all the time when I'm like, oh, if you're gonna use voodoo for money, you're gonna have to sacrifice things. I'm almost never talking about the other Loa, okay? I'm not talking about Ezuli Dontor, I'm not talking about Agwe, I'm not talking about Aiza. More than likely, those Loa are not gonna make you sacrifice your child, sacrifice your mom. Baka? Huh, he want parts. Okay, he wants everything. Okay, everything near and dear for you. If you want him to work for you, to bring you all the finer things in life, and that means money, but he's gonna make you like literally a millionaire. That's because Baka is good at what Baka does, okay? Baka not no little motherfucking spirit, okay? Baka's like, listen, I'm not a joke. You could go to the other Loa that's probably gonna give you a livable wage. They're gonna make you comfortable. They're gonna make you happy. Me, I'm gonna take you to the next level. You trying to be P. Diddy? Or you just trying to be you? Okay, you just trying to be you. That's what Baka offers, okay? He's also known for cursing people, killing people, wreaking havoc on people's lives. So much so that most people know Baka, and if you ever look Baka up, you're gonna see most of the time the description of people literally talking about how they just go to the woods and leave sacrifices for him because like they're just begging for Baka to leave them alone. That's how bad it is, but that's how good Baka is at his job. And Baka also does have like, you know, like little spirits that also do things for Baka, like kind of like how there's like Gede Loa and other types of Loa under the Gede spirit. There's also Baka spirits as well. So all of the Baka spirits are basically the same. So definitely keep that in mind as well. Another thing to keep in mind, another thing that's really important to this is that Baka is an independent contractor. Like I said, not part of the Voodoo Pantheon. However, does not work with any other religion, does not work with any other Loa, does not work with nothing. Okay, you work with Baka, you work with Baka solo. Okay, which means you gonna need a lot of money, you gonna need a lot of patience, because what did I say? Baka and anyone in that petrol type of spirit, they like to play. They play all day. Okay, they not about to be out here not wasting your time, because they probably are gonna waste your time. They probably gonna turn their back on you. Okay, you might literally shell out thousands before you get what you want, and then they probably gonna turn their back on you, and you're probably going to need a very interesting type of conscience, because if you're going to someone like Baka, you need something done, and you probably need something malevolent done. But since they're an independent contractor, you're probably thinking, okay, that means Baka could be done to do good things, right? Like that means, you know what, probably not all bad. But then again, let's be real, if I have a hitman, am I gonna have the hitman go deliver somebody flowers? Having femme want la. Don't embarrass me if you're really thinking some shit like that right now, okay? Am I gonna have a hitman go deliver flowers? No, okay? So for the most part, Baka is used for very, very malicious deeds. More than likely, never good deeds. Because if you wanted to do good deeds, you will use any of the other thousands of Loas in the Pantheon, right? Touchy, okay? Working with Baka, because Baka is scary, okay? Very, very scary, very hard to get a hold of. And when you do get hold of him, he's not, how do I explain it? He's not that forthright. He he do play all day. He do play all day, and most of those spirits play all day in a general sense anyhow. And this also goes into how I'm always telling you guys, when it comes to people doing voodoo for bad, it's not a voodoo thing. That's people using voodoo in conjunction with black magic or doing things completely different. Like I said, Baka is not necessarily a Loa, mainly because he kind of got kicked out of the Loa situation because of leading a rebellion or whatever. So most of the time when you're hearing people do bad things, they're using Baka, or they could be using Metkafu, or they could be using, but Metkafu is a law. But you guys understand, usually they're using these laws that are meant for bad things, either for rough justice purposes, so it's justified, or they're using people like Baka who are made for those type of bad things, or have went on their own path and done bad things. So it's like, that's not necessarily voodoo, but then it's like kind of associated with voodoo. You guys understand where I'm coming from, right? So it's like, it's not necessarily fair to sit there and be like, oh, voodoo's bad. It's like, no, you have to really understand what you're talking about and really do your research to understand where you're coming from when you're saying, oh, all voodoo's bad, voodoo's done to do bad things to people. It's like, no, people do bad things to people because people don't like what certain people do, and if people don't want bad things done to them, they just shouldn't do fucked up shit to people, and that's that. I'm just saying. Now, when it comes to the price and what he will do, absolutely nothing is off limits. Baka's down for whatever, okay? Whatever, whenever, as long as the price is right. But again, like I said, he does like to trick people. He will probably turn his back on you. You don't know when or how that will happen, so you have to be extremely careful. When it comes to sacrifices, most of the time, black roosters, black goats, or, I hate to say it, virgin girls for sex play. Yup. Most of the Petro Loa are like that. Yes, human sacrifices are definitely not off the table with that. So do with that what you will. I'd like to add, there's also a Baka ethnic group in the Cameroon, Congo, as well as Gabon that has been heavily prosecuted because people think that just because their name is Baka, that they have some sort of like mystical powers or like magical knowledge. Maybe they do. I don't know. I didn't look too much into it, but I just know they've been heavily prosecuted because, you know, they live in the forest, you know, they're named like the Baka clan or whatever. And I mean, that's just fucked up. Like, I don't believe anyone should be prosecuted just because of their name or just because they may have an association to a spirit or a Loa or whatever the case may be. I think that's just absolutely ridiculous. But again, there are, of course, you know, different types of Baka spirits or anything. It's very weird, but there is another relevance to this. If you guys are not aware, the Baka spirit itself actually does come from Congo. Most of the other voodoo spirits usually do come from Benin in Togo or Nigeria, but Baka itself does come from Congo, and more specifically comes from spirits in their forest that they also used to call Baka, and they were basically connected to dead spirits that would basically do malevolent things in their forest, and I believe it just migrated over to Haiti during slavery and became Baka as well. So it's just very interesting because these people that are also called Baka also live in the forest. Dying rainforest, by the way, not even like the same type of forest. But, you know, they're also kind of trying to say like, oh, these people must be bad too, and they must know some magical things, and now they're trying to like kill them off. It's very sad, and it's very unfortunate because these people probably don't know anything and they're probably not doing anything, but just because they have the name Baka, people are kind of like trying to attack them and things, and that's just not okay at all by any means. If you ever been called a Baka in your life, I feel very, very sorry for you. Probably one of the worst insults ever in Haitian language, okay? Bakas literally have glowing red eyes. They're not the prettiest, okay? Baka, not the prettiest at all. And for the most part, they just don't have the best reputation. They can grant you a lot of wealth if they like you, if they choose you, if you're not the one seeking them. They can do so much for you in so little time. But for the most part, because of their reputation, because of the fact that the Loa don't fuck with them, just messing with them, just accepting any type of help from them can block your blessings everywhere else. So with that being said, let me know, what do you know about the Baka? Have you ever heard of Baka? And most importantly, have you got your merchandise? I'm wearing one right now. Link in bio. Make sure you guys peep the description box for everything that you need down in the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe, do all that, and I'm gonna see y'all next time. Bye!